Hey there, guys! It's the time of year where it's getting a little bit cold. I'm looking for things to do inside, and I love putting together parrot toys, but they can be a little bit pricey. So in today's video, I'm going to take you guys through 10 different items you can get at the dollar store that you can use to make parrot toys at home. So if that's something you want to see, you want to make sure to stick around, because that's going to be coming up right after this. Hey there, guys! This is Jack over at Hi Redbird, where I am tirelessly working to find new ways to make the keeping of exotic animals and pets more exciting, more affordable, and ultimately more enjoyable. And in today's video, I wanted to take you guys through 10 different items you can find at the dollar store that you can use to build parrot toys at home. One of the nice things about building your own parrot toys is you can build them specifically for your individual bird's needs. If there's particular aspects of a certain toy that your bird really likes, you can duplicate that. You can do it much more inexpensively than if you had to buy the toys in a pet store. And so it's a wonderful way to interact with your animal. Now, dollar stores are going to have some items that you can use to build parrot toys, but I do want to let you guys know right now that it is going to be completely up to you to assess the safety of all of the items that you are going to be using. First and foremost, not all birds are going to react to all items the exact same way. You can't even think of it in terms of size or species. There are some larger parrots that the individual bird can do really well with some smaller, more delicate items, and some smaller birds that can be a little more destructive. So the way you can get around that is by supervising your animal. Anytime you give your bird something new, you should always monitor their interactions with it to make sure that what they're doing is safe. And because the entire point of enrichment is to encourage different responses, you're going to want to maintain that supervision. Even if it's a toy that your bird has had time and time and time again, you want to make sure you're supervising them just to make sure that everything is going through safely. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into 10 different items you can get at the dollar store that you can utilize for making your own bird toys. Now, the first one I'm going to bring up is going to be shoelaces. Now, shoelaces can be a great way to string up different items in order to make toys. You can put a knot in shoelaces. You can string all those items on there. So that can be a great way to attach different items together. So you can make your toys a little bit more complex. And here I was able to get a package of 6 for $1. So that's going to be a great way to do a base form for a lot of your different toys. Now, by shoelaces and all of those things, you're also going to usually run into some craft supplies. And pony beads are going to be a great way to utilize your shoelaces. Now, I am going to recommend the plastic pony beads. You want to avoid the wooden beads. The wooden beads typically have a paint coating that is very, very thin and runs the risk of falling apart as your bird interacts with a toy. But if you utilize these pony beads, you can use them as spacers. You can use them as decorative color on a toy to get your bird's interest. And especially if you paired them with something like the shoelaces, if you tied a knot, attached a few beads, and then tied another knot with a little bit of space in between, then that toy also has the potential of making noise as those beads rattle as your bird is playing with it. So you can provide tactile, visual, and audio enrichment in that way. So craft beads, pony beads are going to be a great way that you can add color and a lot of fun to your bird toys. The next item I wanted to show you guys is going to be colored index cards. You can also get just the plain variety, but the colored version, again, it's going to give you that visual stimulus for your bird. One of my favorite things to do with index cards is I will go ahead and hole punch them and just string them on a piece of rope, a stainless steel skewer, or even one of the shoelaces. The nice thing you get out of that is that it will give your bird something to do for quite a bit of time. If you did this entire package and just strung that on one piece of rope, that would keep your bird busy for hours. And because I am fairly cheap, as you may have noticed, considering I'm putting together a video on dollar store pet toys. For these, I would actually probably cut these in half and use both sides to make little pieces that can be strung up. So that would give you 200 different pieces, all for $1. You could use the pony beads to space them out, or you could just stack them directly. It's completely up to you. While you're in the craft section, the next item you may want to look for is going to be shredded paper. Now, shredded paper gives you the opportunity to turn a lot of your toys into foraging toys. You can use the shredded paper to sort of hide small food items, so maybe sunflower seeds or small nuts. If you have any spots on your toys where you can fit those items in, you can work that shredded paper to hide them, to disguise them. It's going to be a great option. Now, one thing I do want to point out, with the paper shreds, sometimes they can have a metallic foil or something like that inside the paper. You want to make sure that when you look at it, you're just seeing paper. You don't want to see anything sparkly, any glitter, because obviously that would be something you would want to avoid for your bird, but just paper is going to be great. The next few items we're going to be taking a look at are going to be items that are all made for food consumption for people. So for that, you know they're going to be relatively safe. The first one I'm going to show you guys is going to be paper sandwich bags. Now, I have actually shown you guys a couple of different ways that you can use these to make toys. In fact, I'll go ahead and link that video up there somewhere. Paper sandwich bags are going to be great. There's so many different ways that you can use them. I've shown you guys how to turn them into foraging toys. You can use the paper shreds to stuff them, to make them a little more interesting. But if you have a bird that's very, very destructive, that just likes to tear things up, you can go ahead, just punch a hole in the top, and then cut the paper bags into strips, and that'll let your bird tear them apart. You could put little braids in it to try to make it a little more interesting. There's a whole lot that you can do with a pack of dollar store paper lunch bags. The next item is going to be plastic drinking straws. Now, I am going to encourage you guys, with everything you get from the dollar store, depending on what dollar store you go to, will determine the quality of the items. If you get plastic drinking straws, you just want to make sure that they are not too thin. You don't want them to be something that your bird could very easily shred apart and possibly ingest. But these are pretty good. Now, you can use these in a variety of different ways. I've shown you guys how to build a toy out of just plastic drinking straws, so I'll put the link to that video somewhere up there. But a really nice way to use these is as spacers on toys. You know, they're going to give you a little bit more room than those pony beads. You can go ahead and cut them into 2 or 3 inch sections to space different toy parts on a stainless steel skewer, a piece of rope, or those shoelaces that we showed at the very beginning. So plastic drinking straws, absolutely amazing. The next item is going to be paper mouthwash cups. Now, these are the size that I like because I like to be able to enrich a variety of different birds, and for me, these work really well for everything from budgies to cockatoos. You can get really big paper cups, which are going to work well for the bigger birds, but for little birds might be a little bit challenging. Now, I am going to recommend using paper cups. The other options you're going to see at a dollar store are going to be styrofoam cups, which I would never recommend. You don't want to run the risk of your bird ingesting any styrofoam. And you can also run into plastic cups, but unlike, you know, grocery store comparable items, the plastic cups that you get at a dollar store tend to be a little more thin-walled. And again, I would just worry about a bird being able to take them apart, possibly ingest the plastic. Now, you do have a couple of options when it comes to paper cups like this. I like to go ahead, just punch a hole in the very bottom, and when you have them all stacked up like this, realistically, you could take a drill, you could take a screwdriver, and just go through the entire thing. All of the items will then be ready to be threaded onto, again, a stainless steel skewer, a piece of rope, a shoelace. If you put several of these together, fill them with a little bit of that shredded paper, you can have a stacked foraging toy that works really, really well. And honestly, if you guys have a very, very active, energetic bird, something like a cockatoo or a kike, One of the most fun things you can do is just take paper cups like this, stack them on top of each other, almost like you would a house of cards, and let the bird knock them all down. It is a ton of fun to watch. Now, our next item, I actually put a little bit out of range of camera because as you can see, we have quite a few items to show off, is going to be coffee filters. Pretty much every dollar store is going to have these. These are great. Again, because they are made for human food consumption. You know they're going to be safe for your bird, but you can string these up, you can wedge them into places, and birds absolutely love destroying them. So coffee filters are wonderful. Another thing you can do, you can just take small food items, put them inside the coffee filter, and then twist it closed. So your bird just has to work a little bit harder to get certain treats. Obviously, in the wild, your bird has to work a lot harder to get its food. So by giving it opportunities to work a little bit harder, you're just encouraging your bird to use its own natural instincts, its natural abilities, which is going to keep it out of trouble. The ninth item I am going to show you guys, that is, we did 8 so far, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The ninth item is going to be paper muffin liners. Now, these are going to give you a lot of the same options as the coffee filters. But the good thing about these is they are a little more sturdy. So you can string these up, and if you invert them on top of each other, so you have one facing this way, one facing this way, you can then hide food items in there that your bird has to move the cups or completely destroy the cups in order to get to those food items. These are going to work a little bit better for that than the coffee filters, because the coffee filters can be a little bit flimsier. But the muffin liners are going to work great, and they also come pre-done in a variety of colors. Now, if you are using the muffin liners, I do want to point out, you just want to use the paper muffin liners. You don't want to use the metallic inserts that you can use to cook muffins or cupcakes on a cookie sheet. You just want the muffin liners that are made for a muffin pan, because that's going to be safe for your bird. Now, the final item I want to show you guys, a lot of people wouldn't even think about looking in the baby area. In the baby area, there's going to be a lot of different toys, a lot of different teething utensils that might have the potential to be bird toys. But this pack of baby spoons, this is a grand total of 12 different spoons that are very, very sturdy. So I can do a couple of different things with these. I can drill into them, attach other items, and that can be a great base for a foot toy, something your bird just picks up and manipulates using its feet. You can also string these up, put 2 or 3 of them together, so that you then have a very sturdy noise-making device. I know a lot of people get wary about using bells for their birds, because a lot of bells, the clapper on the inside has the potential to fall apart. There's always the risk of your bird ingesting that. But these are going to be very, very sturdy plastic. They are food safe. I would recommend when you take these out of the package, just like I would for a baby, go ahead and give them a nice wash with soap and water before you use them. But that is going to be a great option. Now, one of the types of things that I have not listed on this video, you guys may have noticed, is going to be pet toys that you can find at the dollar store. Now, in my experience, the pet toys that you find at the dollar store do tend to be a little lightweight. I don't know that I would necessarily trust them for most birds. You can get very, very lucky. Sometimes there are toys in the pet section that would make great toys. But the issue with having them for birds is that, one, they can be very, very lightweight, very destructible, to the point that there's a risk of your bird possibly ingesting plastic, bits of rope, that you would want to avoid. Another issue with the pet toys is sometimes they will have metal components. So cat toys with bells will have metal components, and you don't know what the metal is. As far as I am concerned, it's great that there are some items that we can get from the dollar store that we can use to make parrot toys. But at the end of the day, we do have to do it safely. Parrot toys can get a little bit pricey, but they are in no way going to compare to the price of your bird or the value of your bird. So I would definitely say, if you are at all concerned about any of the items you see at a dollar store, I wouldn't use them, but there are some great options here. Now, there are some other things that you can use from the dollar store that I just wasn't able to include in this video. Some of them are seasonally available. That's going to include things like wiffle balls, which are, again, a great base for foot toys, just like those spoons. There's going to be things like paper finger traps or bamboo finger traps. So all of those are going to be seasonally available. So just take a look at your local dollar store and see what there is that might be available. So I certainly hope this information has been helpful for you guys. If you like this video, if you like this kind of content, just go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. Let me know that you guys like this content. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you want to learn all sorts of things to do with your bird, because I am putting out videos, 1 to 2 videos every single week, and I want to make sure that you guys don't miss any of that information. If you guys have a particular type of toy you would like to see, because I've talked about a lot of different toys today. I've talked about foraging toys. I've talked about destructible toys. I've talked about foot toys. If there are any particular types of toy you would like to see me do instructional videos on, go ahead, leave a comment down in the comment section down below. I do want to thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you next time. I do need to say thank you to my Patreon patrons for helping to make these videos possible. You can find out more by visiting Hi Red Bird on Patreon or clicking the link in the description section down below if you would like more information. Thanks!